Alright, what's up everybody? This is Ingram. I'm one of the Minecrafters, and today we're going to do a block spotlight of the Minefactory Reloaded auto spawner. If you're watching this block spotlight, I'm going to go ahead and assume that you've never actually used this before, so I'm going to try and go over everything as quickly and accurately as possible. The first thing to note is there are several different options in the auto spawner itself. This little area here is where we're going to put a safari net with a captured item in it. These four bars over here are where the work and storage is going to happen. This is actually an internal tank that will store mob essence. This is going to store energy to do the work. This is going to store how much work has been done towards the progress of creating a mob. And finally, the idle bar, which will actually show us how long before the auto spawner performs this next act. The spawn exact copy button has two options, yes or no. And those two options determine what the auto spawner will try and do with the safari net captured creature that you place inside of it. If the spawn exact copy is set to no, it's very less resource demanding on the auto spawner. It uses a lot less, and we'll look at that later. If it's set to yes, it will try and duplicate exactly the thing that you put in there. So for example, if you capture a cow, there's no reason to spawn an exact copy because they in general do not have anything unique about them, except for maybe their health. If you're, however, trying to capture a villager and you know that he has a certain exchange rate that you would like to duplicate, then you would want to say spawn exact copy yes. Now please note that this does not duplicate the items or creatures in their inventory. For example, if you captured somebody or a villager that you had given a number of things to and stored them in their inventory, you cannot try and exactly copy their inventory and thus have an infinite source of duplicated items. The power requirements of the auto spawner are quite substantial. You can see that it's trying to store 8,000 millijoules of buildcraft energy here. So your options are to use a redstone energy cell, which can be configured. You want to disable signal, otherwise this switch here that turns on and off the mob spawner will turn also off your power, and you do not want that. You also have the familiar option of the remote power core, which you configure, remember, by opening up the send and receive, changing it to the right frequency, which is dictated by your power core, and then just making sure to either use gates to shut this pipe off or use a loop of pipe here, and this will provide enough power to power the auto spawner. If you feel that those methods are too advanced, you also have the option to use regular buildcraft pipe combined with any sort of engine. Combustion engines are working here, and they're pumping into wooden conductive pipe, finally into gold conductive pipe, and into the bottom. It really doesn't matter, you can put them also into the side, but they just have to touch the auto spawner in some capacity. In order to get mob essence, we're actually going to use the same mod, the Minefactory Reloaded mod, and there's an item called the grinder or mob grinder, which when activated will finally cool down. It also needs power, but it will take and kill any mob, including cows, sheep, zombies, anything that's in front of it, anything that's hostile or non-hostile. It will kill it, it will process it, it will spit out the items that it has in it, and it will take and pump the green mob essence into an attached auto spawner. This setup can also pump into an ender tank, just like we have here, or any liquid duct or any sort of waterproof piping. Now if you remember from the automatic animal farm tutorial, you can remember that you can use the mob grinder to kill domesticated animals, including cows, and they will also produce this mob essence and pump it wherever you direct. Remember to keep in mind though that the mob grinder will not kill babies of any domesticated animal type. So how do we control these? How do we turn them on and off? You'll notice here that there is an idle and it says 200 ticks. Now if there are 20 ticks per second, then that's roughly 10 seconds of idle time in between actions from the moment that you flip this lever. Now if you want to be able to tell whether or not the lever is turning the auto spawner on or off, simply keep your eye on whether the idle bar is full or not. As you can see, as soon as we flip the switch, the idle time starts to decrease, and we have to wait approximately 10 seconds here, depending on the speed of your server processor. Now, as soon as that idle time is run down, this auto spawner is ready to go. Now, the reason it's not spawning anything yet is because, remember, I haven't put anything in there for it to copy. So I have a safari net here with a zombie with health value of 20, and as soon as I put it in there, we can see that it's going to start doing work. It's going to drain the energy that's available, and also at the same time it will drain the monster essence. Now because I have it on peaceful, those were immediately destroyed as soon as they came into the world. Next, let's take a look at the two different copy types that are provided by the auto spawner: spawn exact copy no and spawn exact copy yes. Each of the blocks over here represents one block or one item of a different type. First we have mob essence, and this represents, each block represents one monster. So in order to create a blank copy, you need to kill 1.5 monsters, which produces 150 millibuckets of monster essence. You also need approximately 2,000, so each one of these represents 500 units of millijoules. You need 2,000 millijoules, and if each one of these represents 5 units of work, then you need 15 units of work to produce one mob. What that translates to is that for 3 mobs, every 3 mobs that you kill, you will get a yield of 2 mobs generated. So this is not able to replenish itself infinitely. You do need to set up a more elaborate setup for that. Exact copy mode is in fact significantly more demanding. It requires 4 mobs to be killed. It only yields 1. It requires roughly 4,000 to 5,000 millijoules of power. The tests were not definitive on that, but they were always within that range. And finally, it needs 50 units of work compared to the 15. So how do we actually get things to put in this auto spawner? Well, that's actually easy. To do that, you craft a safari net, which is 4 ender pearls surrounding a ghast tier, gives you a reusable and infinitely reusable safari net. And all you do is go around in the world. I have it on peaceful so they will not spawn. So I'll just spawn in a cow. You just grab your safari net and right click on the animal in question, and you can see now that I have a safari net with cow, and it actually shows what the cow has, the features of it. It has health 10. If you get different levels of slime, they'll have different levels of health ranging from 5 to 20. Your typical zombie is going to have a health value of 20, and you can get all these different items and animals. You can even do large things like ghast. You can do enderman. You can do probably an ender dragon, a wither, or anything else that you set your mind to. Now over here I have a really simple rig which basically shows a number of these auto spawners, and each one of them has a safari net captured monster or mob or creature in them. Underneath are just liquid ducts, which I'm going to fill with monster essence. And in order to turn these off, we need to send them a positive redstone signal, and I have the energy cells behind to only activate power through these redstone energy conduits. Again, these are from the thermal expansion mod. When a red signal is applied, basically all you need to know is this signal, when it's on, turns them off, and if we flip this switch, they will immediately all start to fire up. Now the only prerequisite is that they actually have monster essence. So I have my ender tank here, and it's full of monster essence, and if I rotate this little thing here, you can see that the monster essence is immediately going to start pouring through this liquid duct underneath them and slowly go into all of these auto spawners. So now if I flip this switch, we should see in about 10 seconds we should see quite a bit of fun. And here we go. We are spawning all sorts of mobs. I have blaze, I have golems, zombies, those are witches. I captured a witch. You can put them in there. There are magma slimes, there are regular slimes, there are spiders. Basically you can have a field day with these things. So there you have it. Thanks for watching the block spotlight of the Minefactory Reloaded auto spawner. If you want to see this thing used in a full-scale minium production facility, or basically the world's best automated mob farm, be sure to check out the video here. And as always, thanks for watching and stay poised.